Talk. Man, it's 5 p.m. Happy hour. Welcome. I'm Austin Reed. Thanks for joining us. It is the 10th of June, 2021. Hopefully you've had a great day. We've had a great day here at Central Valley Talk. I think we've had like 14 guests since this morning. Yesterday we had 14. So, you know, we celebrate what's good about Fresno and all of Central California. And Jeffery Robinson is my last guest tonight and today. And hey, Jeffery, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Now, this is your first time on Central Valley Talk, right?
Yes, it is.
Well, there's always a time for something, right?
Well,
First for something.
We've been here. Fresno Rainbow Pride has been here many years with you. We've always had Zoya, who has been our public relations person.
Yeah.
Always come and represent for us.
Well, I'm glad you're here now. So we have a lot to talk about. Number one, it is Pride Month.
It is. June is LGBTQ plus Pride Month.
And here is something super, super exciting. It's happening tomorrow.
Yes.
The Pride flag is going to be flown for the first time ever at Fresno City Hall. I want to ask you, I want to start with, how does that feel?
Oh my God, it's amazing. It has been such a whirlwind of a trip the last 2 weeks of riding the roller coaster about whether the flag would fly or not. And it's just one of the most hopeful things that has ever happened. It's been a 31-year journey to get that flag risen at Fresno City Hall.
Well, because when you look at the city of Fresno, you look at Central California, this is a very conservative area. We have a conservative city council. We have a pretty conservative mayor in Jeffery. But things are changing. Why do you think that is?
I think society on the whole is changing, not just here in America, but all around the world. People are beginning to share their true selves with folks, and they're talking to their mothers, their fathers, their grandmothers, their grandfathers, their brothers, sisters, the next door neighbor, the grocery clerk, and they're sharing their life and talking about their own personal experience. And I think that that is really what is changing the hearts and minds all over the world about LGBTQ folks.
You know, in my family, my sister, she's married to a woman, and my daughters, they'll be 5 in May. And, you know, I feel like maybe even 20 years ago, it would have been a different dynamic, you know, talking about or explaining to my daughters, you know, when my sister sends the presents for the birthdays, you know, I feel like it may have been a different story, like, oh, you know, my daughters ask, who's this from? It's from Aunt Jessica, you know, and now, but we've just grown up with them knowing that it's from Aunt Jessica and Aunt Kim. They're married. It's two women can get married. It's not a big deal, you know. And do you think that's the conversation that, like you said, is now? It's not cliche. It's not, you know, people just talk. It's not a big
normal.
deal. It's normal.
It's normal.
Right.
It's part of just everyday life.
Yeah.
You can't switch on the TV now and not see presentations of the LGBT community just as a matter of fact. So like today they had on The View, they had, yesterday it was Fran Drescher, and she was talking about The Nanny, the show, and how they just incorporated gay people as no big deal. It wasn't like today we're talking about gay issues.
Right.
It was just this character happened to be gay, and that's all there was, and they didn't explain it or do anything with it. And I think we've seen so much change in media, whether it be the entertainment industry or like the news media. Those presentations have begun to change and show the true diversity of our community, not the stereotypes. Stereotypes are okay in lots of ways because they are part of our community, but it's not the sum of our community.
Right. Well, and I think it's a changing tide. You know, it's 2021. You know, these are different times. But still, it does say a lot, especially about Jeffery, because I saw him at the press conference when it was announced that the flag would be flown at City Hall, and he kind of fought off tears. Do you think that's just because of the people that he knows, people in his circle, and him just accepting this and hearing from people, right?
I think it was, for Jerry, it was eye-opening and a true transformation for him. Because I'd had a conversation with him, a private conversation where he had called me, and we had a very, very strong talk about why I felt it was so important. and why taking those flags and not flying them at Fresno City Hall would be pushing us back to a time period like in the 30s, 40s, and 50s of separate but not equal, and that we needed to move away from those Jim Crow type of policies. So we had that conversation. He explained his position very well. He really listened to what I and other people had said. I wasn't too sure. I got a phone call out of the blue. Didn't know how he got my cell number.
Interesting.
Yeah, like,
hey, it's the mayor of Fresno. How you doing today?
He's like, hello, is this real? And I kind of was a little apprehensive because I've had dealings with him in the past, just superficial dealings.
Sure.
And I wasn't too sure where we were going. And at the end of the conversation, he was able to really, he said, I took notes, and he said, these are the important facts for you. These are the important points that you'd like to make. And I thought, okay, well, that was really good. You know, and I said, well, I'll tell you what, I only speak for me. I don't speak for the whole community.
Right.
I only speak for me and my opinion. And I would like to talk to the people that I really look up to and let them know that I had this conversation with you. I'm not going to be able to endorse or support any of the things that we've talked about today until my committee for Fresno Rainbow Pride is met, and we've talked about it, and then those people that advise me or people that I trust their opinions of. And so we did, and I met him the next day out at Fresno City College. Carol Goldsmith is a friend of mine, and I watched him be touched by her story and Jerry Thurston's story about his sister.
Wow.
And I think it was eye-opening, and I have to say, I walked away that day saying, this is a genuine transformation. And I saw him on yesterday actually, at Fresno State for their flag raising.
Yeah.
And we were talking about the GVY interview I had done. And I said, you know, this is how I feel about it, Jerry. I said, you couldn't have convinced me earlier that this was true, but I swear like I was transported into that cartoon at Christmas, The Grinch, and I saw your heart literally grow 3 times larger.
Right.
And he laughed at me and gave me a hug.
That's awesome.
So I think that he's made a comment to folks that he said that God spoke to him and touched his heart, and I think that that's truly what happened.
Now, playing devil's advocate, I listen and watch all the media across the area. And Jim Franklin, are you aware of him?
Yes.
So he said, well, if you start flying other flags, it should only be the American flag at City Hall. If Jim Franklin was with us right now, what would you say to him on that note?
Well, first of all, I would say, Jim, that's not been the course of action here. Fresno has flown other flags. The Armenian flag, the flag of Mexico, the flag of Greece, and the Grizzlies flag. And so I really want to point out that the Rainbow Pride flag is a flag that was designed in 1978 by Gilbert Baker.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes.
Huh.
So Harvey Milk up in San Francisco, the first openly gay elected official here in California, asked his good friend Gilbert Baker to design a symbol in which would offer hope and inspiration to the LGBTQ community. And Gilbert Baker and a couple other people hand-dyed each one of the colors in the flag at a laundromat and sewed this together. And what's really interesting is recently, after 43 years, that original flag has finally been found and has now just been returned to San Francisco.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a really big story on that whole process. But the flag was designed to represent all of us within the community.
Okay.
So that it wasn't just for cisgender white males. It was for everyone. And each color has a different representation for what it means. Now, I'm not really that well versed on each color's stripes meaning. But that symbol the flag became a symbol of hope to rally around. The only other symbol we've ever had was a symbol that we took back from the Nazis. So, you know, during World War II, the Nazis persecuted gays and lesbians just like they did Jews and gypsies and Jehovah's Witnesses and a whole other variety of folks. And how they identified us was a pink triangle. And so we took that very negative symbol, reclaimed it, and made it a symbol of pride in lots of ways. But we wanted a different symbol that didn't have any negative meaning to it. So Gilbert Baker designed this for Harvey Milk. It has flown in San Francisco. It's been adopted worldwide as the symbol. I don't know if you know why we celebrate June as LGBTQ Pride Month.
No, what is the reason?
Well, in 1969 in New York City at a Greenwich, boy, I can't talk now, bar called the Stonewall Inn. There were only about 4 LGBT bars in New York at that time.
It was in Greenwich, right?
Yeah, Greenwich Village. Thank you. There we go. It was illegal across the nation for gay people to congregate in any space. So, like if you were at a coffee house or a bar or a restaurant, police could come in and raid it. They could arrest the patron and arrest the staff and owner. So there were laws on the books that kept us from being able to gather. The police came in to do a raid of this bar, which was typical. And usually they would come in and they would say, oh, you need to have an ID, and that ID needs to match what you look like. So if you're dressed in clothing that is not appropriate for a female or for a male, we're going to arrest you. You got to have 3 articles of clothing on that is appropriate for your sex assigned to you at birth. And so they would arrest these people, rough them up, print their picture in the paper. People would lose their jobs. Well, in June of 1969, at the height of summer, hot and sweaty, they came in and did a bar raid, and they got a little handsy with one of the drag queens and one of the drag kings. Drag kings are lesbians that impersonate males for theater purposes.
Right.
And they fought back. And it led to 3 days of a riot and a rebellion against police brutality and prejudice. Dang. So that's what June is all about all over the world. That was seen as the event that really solidified the LGBTQ movement. And from those riots, those 3 days of rioting, the community started to come together in New York and said, we need services for our community. So bookstores were open, newspapers were established, health centers were established, community centers, support groups, all kinds of things were started for the LGBT community from those riots. And then a year later in 1970, San Francisco, LA, Chicago, and New York marked that event with a march. They were pride marches,
right?
Gay liberation marches. And from those, we now have gotten to the gay pride parades.
Right, and now Pride Month.
Yeah, the whole month.
More into the...
Well, because there's too much celebration to be had just in one day.
Right, exactly.
So we really do, it is for the whole month. Traditionally here in Fresno for the last 31 years, it's always been the first weekend in June. We've carved that out because LA and San Francisco have a weekend each in June. Okay. And then there's other cities that carve out that last week.
Perfect. So let's see, last weekend, let's real quick, and man, we're running out of time. This is a great history lesson, everybody. But what happened last weekend?
So last weekend we had, because of COVID, we've been sitting on trying to celebrate our 30th anniversary for Pride. And that was supposed to have happened last year, and then COVID hit. And so we couldn't do any of those type of events. So we did a virtual. And then we thought we were going to be able to do it this last week. And of course, we're still not at a point where we can bring 5,000 or more people together.
Right.
So what we ended up doing is we did kind of a mismatch of an in-person and a virtual. So we brought people together in a socially distant way and did a drive-through festival where organizations and our sponsors got to hand out information about their businesses and their groups and their services as each car drove by. Cars decorated themselves for a little parade.
We're looking at video right now.
Oh, you are?
Yeah,
fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, it was so well attended. It ended up running almost 50 minutes over our slotted time. Dang. We had so many people in line waiting to get through. Most of the organizations had ran out of brochures and stuff. Chase Flower Shop had come out and brought flowers for everyone, and they had to go back to their shop 3 different times because the crowd was such a larger event than we had expected.
That is amazing. Yeah. And then this weekend, what's happening?
Well, tomorrow's the big deal.
Tomorrow's a big deal.
Tomorrow is really what we're going to be celebrating. We have the flag raising, and if you don't know, this is happening all over the valley right now. Delano, Merced, Madera did a proclamation. Porterville, Tulare, Selma has pride flags up in their main downtown area.
Wow.
This is happening everywhere. Fresno City College has done something. Fresno State did something. And now we're going to be doing something at Fresno City Hall. And for the first time, our rainbow flag will be flying at City Hall. Really a beacon of hope, inclusion, tolerance, and acceptance is going to be happening, that we are truly part of the of the citizens here of Fresno.
And then I know you quickly wanted to bring up the event at
Island Water
Park, yeah.
Yeah, so, we've been trying to do some really interesting things. So towards the end of May, we went out to Island Water Park, and we had what was called a drive-in drag show and vaccine shot clinic. Oh. So Island partnered with us along with Barb's Drive-In, which does the downtown drive-in movies across from the Crest. Partnered with us with our local drag kings and drag queen performers, and we put on a show for over 200 cars. So, and those cars were packed. We had someone come in with a Winnebago stuffed full of people. They came to support. People were able to get their vaccine shots. And it was really just a beautiful night of entertainment and just being able to be out and about.
Wow. So much going on. The celebrations, nonetheless, will continue across the city, and especially with tomorrow's event. I'm sure all the news stations will be covering it. But can people come out?
Oh, yeah, we encourage everybody to come out. We want everyone to be there. You do not need to be LGBTQ. You can be an ally. You can be from any community in this city or the valley. Come out and support, experience some cultural difference, embrace that, and really come out and support your brothers, sisters, and neighbors.
Very good. Jeffrey, thank you for joining us. FresnoRainbowPride.com. That's where you can learn more. And happy Pride Month.
Thank you so much.
All right. I'm Austin Reed. That does it for Central Valley Talk on this Thursday. Thank you for being with us. Have a great upcoming weekend. Don't forget about the Reed Report. That's tomorrow at 8 a.m. on My 53. And check out more footage from Central Valley Talk and the Reed Report on Roku. Just download the Austin Reed Network. We'll see you back here next week. Bye.
Aqua Nails Spa is the most luxurious nails and spa salon in Fresno and Clovis. Our staff are friendly, courteous, and highly skilled. Come in and let us pamper you. Located at 1398 Shaw Avenue in Clovis, California, on the southwest corner of Shaw and Sunnyside. Also located at 1850 Herndon Avenue, Suite 111 in Clovis, California.
When you get hungry, remember Barbecue Bob.
Location is 409 Fresno Street on the corner of Fresno and Jones on the Golden West side of Fresno. The phone number is 559-375-1259, and we invite you to come out. You will not be disappointed.